My first relationship after my divorce was it was a nuclear bomb. Like, it was a disaster across the board, like terrible. But I knew working through it, I was like, okay, it would have been crazy for me to expect the next relationship that I got into after my divorce to be perfect. Like, that's insane. I knew I had it in me that, yeah, it didn't go great. It went terribly. I still wake up every day. I'm still fine. I'm still me. I don't need that person. I still am going to put one foot in front of the other, and day after day, eventually I won't think about that all the time, and I won't think about what a fucking disaster it was. I have that trust in myself. And I think that it's definitely one of the things that I feel like anybody getting divorced is going to deal with in the first few months afterwards is finding that trust in themselves again.
Yeah.
Because they, like, what we talked about, they've more than likely completely lost themselves. And there are a couple of things you have to do, and that's, you have to get to know yourself again, who you are without that other person. And you have to start to love yourself again and realize that you're important, and have that trust in yourself that you did the right thing.
What are you doing with the emotions? Like when you feel sad or when you want to cry? I know as a man, the thing that I dealt with the most is crying. Like I didn't have a relationship to sadness. I didn't
Right.
understand it in that capacity because I had never loved anybody enough to want to marry them.
Yeah.
So when it ended, it was like, fuck, what is this? Oh,
Right.
I don't
It's a
understand
whole,
this.
it's
And
a
you
whole different
can't.
kind of grief that you've
Yeah.
never dealt with.
It's
Yeah.
like wearing a fucking cardigan and and you're just like, I don't want to fucking wear a cardigan. Why but you can't
Why is
take
this
it off?
happening?
You're just like,
Uh-huh.
fuck.
Yep.
Like, what do you do in that situation? What did you do?
Well, I had a relationship with sadness very early on.
Yeah.
So um, I've lost a lot of people in my life. It started with losing my dad at 10 months old. So loss was not something that I was unfamiliar with. Um, I do feel like it's very different when you lose someone that's still there. Like, then, you know, dealing with death as a loss, like that person, you're not going to run into them at the grocery store.
Yeah.
Whereas you might run into your ex at the grocery store. So that loss does look different. I've always been a person that lets myself feel emotions, and sometimes that is to my peril. I am an emotional being, and I cannot hide what I think on my face. I'm one of those people that you can look at me at all times and be like, "Oh, she fucking hates that guy. Look at her face." Like, um, I eventually, no matter what, those feelings are going to come out.
Yeah.
You can try and shove them down as long as you want to, and you can try and hide them or hide from them. They're going to come out. They're going to manifest in one way or another. And you would just be better off to just get it out of the way and deal with it when it happens.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, let those emotions have their place. Like, I I wish, to be honest with you, like, when you say that you didn't know how to deal with that sadness because you had never loved something that much, and crying, everybody should cry. Like, first of all, crying is an actual physiological response. There's a reason for it, a chemistry reason for it in your body. Everyone has this perception that crying or being sad or whatever is just being emotionally weak. It's actually being incredibly, incredibly emotionally strong to cry. And it's a release. It's an actual physical release in your body that happens. So, not knowing how to deal with that, just take that little bit of it with you. Like, anybody that listens to this or anybody that watches it, any man that's like, I had to cry, and oh, that was weird. Like, I've never experienced that. It's no different than blowing your nose.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like,
And if you don't do it, you're gonna have a lot of boogers up there.
right. Like, take the shitty perception that everyone has that it makes you weak. No, you know what? I would much rather see a guy cry and actually release his emotions than see it all pent up to where he fucking blows up later in a different manner. Um, you have to let your emotions out because eventually, no matter what, they're going to come out, and it may not be in the right manner if you hold them in. You know, I've seen that in a lot of people where, oh, I'm not going to be emotional about anything, and 20 minutes later, they're over throwing a fucking temper tantrum in the corner, and you're like, you do understand that that's just because you didn't deal with any of this when it happened. It's all word vomiting out of you now all at one time.
Yeah.
So yeah, let your emotions be. It's they're going to be no matter what.
Regardless, yeah, you can't
Yeah.
suppress them.
No. No. They're smarter than you are, believe it or not.
Yeah. I'm happy that I have a new affinity for sadness. And when it shows up, I just, go to the store and get ice cream.
You know what? I'm not gonna lie. I am all for throwing all the money at Ben and Jerry's possible right now.
Fuck yeah, especially after the whole George Floyd supporting and
Exactly. So
hell yeah.
I encourage all men to get sad and buy ice cream. It's fine. No, I think it's wonderful. I think that to me it shows it shows signs of a person that's also interested in their own growth. You know, like you've embraced being able to be sad, and it's an emotion that wasn't in your repertoire before this.
No, it was
It
not.
makes you an even more fully rounded person,
Yeah.
being able to have that now.
Well, I think that allowing it
Hmm.
and embracing it is what brought me to having this conversation and being able to speak to you. And it opens doors, but I have a saying, it's like, you can't have a breakthrough without a breakdown.
Amen.
It's just not going to
Oof.
happen. It's not
Nope.
going to happen. You're going to be
Nope.
conformed and you're going to be relaxed and you're going to live a regular life. But when you're uncomfortable, when you are discomforted,
Yeah.
man, the you that comes out of that is like
Yeah.
fire.
Completely.
Yeah.
Because you're never driven as hard as
Yeah.
that moment.
Yeah.
Like like I said, I didn't want to wake up feeling shitty anymore. I was driven because nobody wants to feel bad.
No.
Nobody. Whether it's sadness, whether it's for me, it was depression, anxiety. Nobody wants to feel uncomfortable. We I've worked my entire life to try to figure out how to feel comfortable and what that looks like. And to wake up every day, in a state of complete and utter anxiety and discomfort for, a good solid year. It was the worst year of my life. It was worse than when I went through my divorce. And you're right, the rebirth that comes from that, the things that you learn about yourself are things that you're never going to learn when things are okay.
Yeah.
You're only going to learn them when you're placed in that hot water and it's really, really, really bad.
Yeah. Which leads me to the final question of this amazing interview. If you had to do it again, would you do it?
I do think I would. Yeah. Um, like I said, those pivotal years, I got to go through them with essentially my best friend. Um, while of course, yes, there was a sexual relationship to it, he was my favorite person to go do things with. He was my favorite person to go see the band with. He was my favorite person to go to the music festival with. He was my favorite person to go to the grocery store with. And I got to have that person standing by my side during those years. And whereas some people would be like, oh, if you didn't, you'd be stronger. Well, I think I came out of it, the other end of it, pretty fucking strong. So um, I think that I went through some really pivotal things with him that I look back to those experiences and I'm glad that I don't have to go through them again, but I'm glad that I have those experiences in my chest of things that I've gone through in my life. You know, seeing someone go through rehab is it's a very unique experience that I don't wish upon anyone, but I'm glad that I went through it. It taught me a lot about compassion and a lot about understanding that you may have this person in your life that is the closest person to you. That doesn't mean you know shit about them. You don't know shit about what's going on inside of their head all the time. Um, and I don't think that my life would have turned out the way that it did. I I think that the strength that I had to find propelled me to do things that I never expected that I would. And I think that I found a lot of that in getting divorced. So I'm grateful for I'm grateful for the fact that it happened also so early on in my life. And you know, that was the conversation that he and I had. Like, we still have the rest of our lives in front of us to go and find what it is and who we're really supposed to be.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for the entire thing, really. And I'm glad that I can look back at it that way. I'm glad that I'm not full of resentment and anger and hate, and I'm glad that we didn't walk away from it hating each other. That would have broken my heart more than anything. Um, so yeah, I would have done it all again.
Nice. All right. So let me have you say something now. I'm done with the questions. There you are, right? You're 43 now.
Hmm.
If you had the opportunity for 30 seconds to talk to that younger you, what would you say? Damn, that's a question.
It's okay. I would say trust yourself, trust your gut feelings, always be honest with yourself, no matter how hard it is. Strength inside of you.
Oh man, hold on. You froze. Fuck. This is the whole corona.
Uh,
Damn corona having to fucking interview people with the internet. Give me one more time because it just totally froze and you like
okay.
confused. All
Um,
right. So what would you say?
I would say trust your guts always. Trust yourself. Believe in yourself. Um, but more than anything, you have a strength inside of you that will show itself when you need it the most. And don't ever question that you have that inside of you. Don't ever, ever let anyone make you feel weak, because you have something in you that very, very few people have. That's probably not 30 seconds, but
Hey, it worth the extra. If it did go over, it's worth it. Um, you know, Misty, I thank you for being a yes to this conversation. It's really
totally.
important, and thank you for just being raw and real. It's something that not only was it appreciated, I just want to acknowledge you for the courage that it took
Yeah.
to create the rest of your life in a moment where you had no tools to do it. And you know, your last words are perfect. Trust yourself. And
Yeah,
there's no
absolutely.
better advice that you can give to somebody. So thank
Well,
you for sharing time.
yeah. Thanks for having me. I hope that people get something out of this, because I wish when I had been going through this that I would have had something like this to watch. You know, other
Yeah.
people's experiences. That's how we learn.
Yeah. When we see our own humanity in other people.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, guys and gals, that was Misty, and in all her essence, make sure to see everything and hear everything that she has said. Like there was just gold everywhere. So, you got to mine it. That's a wrap on another episode of Divorce the First 6 Months. Don't forget to hit subscribe for more insights. Take care.